Hi, everybody. Sometimes as quilters, we like to look for new tools or things to replace old tools because I tend to think as quilters, we like gadgets a little bit. I know I do. I'm a little bit of a gadget fanatic. I get that naturally. My dad's that way. My grandfather was that way. And my brother is that way. But I think we get that kind of a little bit as quilters as well. We like to find new tools, find new things for storage and all. And if you've been wondering about certain tools, especially rotary cutters, then today's video is for you because we're going to talk about today a specific type of rotary cutter handle. Hi, everybody. I'm Diana here at Sew in Common. I'm the owner and designer here, and thank you so much for joining me for this short little tool video. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is tell you a little bit about some tool storage that I found recently because I went with my husband to the local hardware store called Harbor Freight. I bet a lot of you have heard of Harbor Freight. It's pretty much throughout the country, I think. Do you see this little box here? Isn't that great? It's perfect for this area, and I have so much stored in here that I kept like pushing back and pushing back. Well, now I have this great little storage. I have my pre-wound bobbins that I wind for my quilting because I use a specific color. I use this light aqua when I quilt, and so I like to keep about a dozen pre-wound of these that I've wound. And then in this big box here, I have all my factory pre-wounds for my embroidery machine. Because as all of you know, we do our piecing and quilting here at Sew in Common all on our embroidery machine. Down here in this big one, I have a whole selection of my quilt clips close at hand. I have tools, all kinds of things in there. And like I said, I found it at Harbor Freight. It's just a little mini tool storage. Only $10.99, and I think it's going to be great for those things that I need close at hand here in my little work area. So that's something for you to check out. But the other thing, the more important thing that I want to talk to you today about is rotary cutter handles, really. So let's click over to my other camera here. Here we go. And here are some things that I wanted to show you. So this is they call it an ergonomic kind of rotary cutter handle. It's got a great click there, which locks your blade so you don't accidentally end up cutting yourself or anyone else. And I like that. And what I really like is I am a lefty. I can put my blade on this side. So it's two-sided for a lefty or a righty. I really like that. I feel I also get better control with it because it does fit in my hand, and I have had carpal tunnel surgery on both hands in the past, and it does give you that ergonomic grip. So I like this one very much. And this just has a regular 45 millimeter blade on it. Now, I do like to use the Olfa titanium blades. I feel like I get longer use out of them. But you could use any 45 millimeter blade on this. And I think this is an Olfa handle. Yeah, it sure is. It even says it right there. So this one is your typical straight 45 millimeter handle. And pretty easy to get on and off. You just have to click this up and down, and then this falls off. You replace your blade. This piece right here is your safety. Now the thing is, once you've done your cutting, you need to remember to click that back. For some reason, this is harder for me to remember than it is for me to remember to do this little button on the ergonomic one. I don't know why. But the thing about this one is that when I cut, because I like cutting with a pinking blade, especially for our quilt blocks. Let me just bring one over. You can see how these have all been trimmed out in that pinking blade, because the pinking blade, every time there's a dip in one of these grooves, I've taken a little bit of bulk out of my seam. Tiny bit, but overall it makes a difference. So I like trimming my blocks with a pinking blade, but I don't like switching out blades in my one handle. It gives me more of a chance to cut myself, which I do frequently. And so for me, that's a safety thing. And I don't like taking the time to do it. I feel like the more and more I take these apart, the more chance I have of breaking something, like I said, of injuring myself. So I've only had this straight handle. It's an Olfa one, but any straight handle will hold a 45 millimeter pinking blade on it. But that's what I've been using. And again, when I use this, this is not very ergonomic. In fact, I've slipped on this. I know you should probably like that instead of like that, but I tend to guide with my finger instead of my thumb. I have before had my finger slip and go right around and cut, and I've had to have stitches there. So I thought, what if I put a pinking blade on a handle like this? And I wanted to get one right away. I didn't want to take the time to drive 2 hours to my local shop to get a new ergonomic handle. So I went to whatever. Guess. I went to Amazon.com to look for those ergonomic handles. And I found this little kit. It was really very inexpensive. And to be honest, there's not an actual brand on here that I can see. It's just this 45 millimeter rotary cutter kit. And I'll be completely transparent. I bought it because of the color, because that is one of my favorite colors. It's part of my logo color and all that. I love this color. So I ordered it. You got 5, I believe it's 5 45 millimeter blades in here. Yeah. So that's nice. They gave me lots of blades, and a blade comes on it. It has this little button again for that. It does have the grippy part here. It is as ergonomic as this one is. In fact, look at these straight on. That's pretty much the same handle, except the screw parts are different. But that handle part is exactly the same. Okay. So what I thought we would do today, because this 45 millimeter blade is on here for a righty, because a lot of people are righties, but I need it for a lefty. So we're going to take it apart. And I like that. I'll be honest. I like that big screw on there. Now there's always this little bent washer, and I try to take it out and set it aside exactly how I'm supposed to put it back in to my rotary cutter, because I tend to get messed up if I don't. And I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to remove this piece. And you can see in here, let me just grab a tissue. There is a little bit of lubricant on there, a little bit of oil. And I'm just going to slide that off. And I had an empty rotary cutter blade box. And I'm going to just put this in here because it was made for a 45 millimeter, and put that on there. And then I'm going to take a Sharpie and put new blade on here. That way I won't think that's an old blade and throw it away, because, you know, now I've got some good blades. It's not the ones that I normally use, but these are perfectly acceptable, perfectly good blades, and I will use them. Now set that aside. Now this has a lot of oil on the side and lubricant, so I'm just going to kind of wipe that, because that's going to be this, not the side. Mine is going to go on this side, so I'm just going to kind of wipe that off a little bit and flip it over, because I want my blade to go on this side. Now I have to remove my blade here. And if you all were watching some of my recent videos, I kept saying that I have to get a new, there we go, a new 45 millimeter pinking blade out. And I did. This is an Olfa. So all I did was move that little red button, pop that back on. Now I can take in here and clean out any lint and stuff. Now, I will keep that handle. It's a perfectly good handle, because what I like to do when I go and teach classes, I will fill some of my old handles with good blades and take them in case people need to borrow them. And if that walks away from me, that's fine. So now I'm going to take my pinking blade and I'm going to set it right here, which will be the front. And I am going to flip this into the hole. That's the front part. Now I'm going to flip it over and take my little washer and set it right back on there the way it came off. That way I know I've not messed anything up. And I'm just going to tighten that on there. And I don't tighten it down really hard, otherwise it's really hard for it to move, right? So you need to there we go. Now it moves nice and easy. Okay. And now it's locked. Okay, that's all good. Now I'm going to come in. I always keep my, speaking of tools and things, I always keep my blocks and my cut fabrics and stuff for blocks in these mesh bags with zippers. You can get those on, guess where, Amazon as well. And they're great. They really hold things. I don't typically keep them completely zipped. That allows a little bit of air in there. I love those. But let's just take this piece of stabilizer and I'm going to grab my my ruler here. And now I know this is on an angle. It's because I'm a lefty. So let's try that now. We'll undo that and we're going to see how this works. That was pretty smooth. Wow, that was really nice. Look how nicely that did that. Okay, that's a nice pinking blade. That is a brand new pinking blade versus that older pinking blade that I was using recently in one of our videos. When you, with a pinking blade, when you have to start pushing hard to get it to cut, you need a new blade, because you'll start pulling your threads and start raveling. With this blade, I didn't, because it's brand new as of like yesterday. But my main concern is, how did the handle work? And I can say, let's unlock that one. I can say this one has a little bit more of an easy spring to it, but this one works fine. I mean, it's perfectly fine. So what I might do is, because I use my pinking blade more often, I might put it on this handle and put my regular blade on this handle, because I don't use it as much. But it really wouldn't matter. They both worked really, really nicely. So this handle was a bit more expensive when I bought it. Probably when I bought this one, it was probably close to $40. I think they're a lot less expensive now. But when I bought that originally many years ago, it was more expensive. This whole little kit, I believe, was $13. Really inexpensive. And I also like that it has this little pad here. And you can see, let's flip this so you can see them. You can see the Olfa one has a nice pad there as well. This one has like these little bumps on them. They both have a hole. So I think the bodies of these are pretty much the same. How they've decided to do color and do this quite a bit, or just a little bit differently and all, and probably the spring mechanism is a little bit different in these. But basically, they work and acted the same, and I saved a lot of money to get a secondary handle. So I really like this one. This is the packaging. Again, I got this off of Amazon, guys. I'm not being paid or asked to review this, but I wanted to show you, and I wanted to show you how to switch out a blade from another like straight handled piece too, because I know we have a lot of new folks here watching these days, and some of you are brand new to quilting and the whole bit. So I wanted you to see how easy it is. I really like this type of handle. I'm not telling you to go and switch to these handles, but I really do think they're a little bit safer. And they're definitely more ergonomic than a straight handle, and I think they're a little bit safer. And a pinking blade works as easily in this type of handle as it did on my straight handle. So let's go back over to our main camera. So that is our tool video for handles. Now, to be honest, they don't make that type of handle for these smaller, like the 28 millimeter. And I also have, I think this is like a 16 or a 12 millimeter. What is this one? This is an 18 millimeter. I use these tiny ones for very specific type of cutting. They don't make ergonomic handles for these that I know of. But really for the little amount of cutting that I do with these, straight handles are still just fine. And I wanted to tell you that because I didn't want people running out trying to find ergonomic handles for those smaller blades. Do they make ergonomic handles for the big 60 millimeter blades? I don't know, but I bet you they do. I bet they do, but I don't know. I do have a 60 millimeter rotary cutter. I don't use it quite as often as my 45. That's pretty much your standard. So I like this. It was easy to set up. It works great. And best of all, it holds my painting blade, which I love. So check out your local. Next time your husband says, or a friend says, let's go to a hardware store for something, go, because you can find lots of cool stuff. In fact, there was something else I found, and probably a lot of you have seen this. They have these little magnetic bowls. They're for holding screws and things. But I have these at my sewing machine. I have another one over here. This one was a freebie today. So I said, yes, I'll take it. Because your clips, when you're at your machine, can go in here, and because there's metals in your clips, they'll hold in there if they're hitting the magnet. Or your pins, love these for that. Now, I've got one that's all decorated and painted up really cute because I got it from a name brand retailer in a fabric shop. It's this that's been decorated for those brands. So I love these plain metal ones. And I think, so like I said, this was a freebie today because our Harbor Freight was having a sale. But I think that when they're not on, when they aren't freebies, when you just walk in to buy them, I think they're $4.99. And that little one I have over there that's all pretty and painted, I think I spent close to $17, $18 for it. So big difference to do the same thing. And they've got a nice rubber pad over the magnet on the bottom, so they're not marring up your surfaces and stuff. So I keep one at my cutting table. I have one at my sewing machine, and I have one here at the embroidery machine. And I'm going to keep this one right here where I cut and stuff, because sometimes I'm using clips and pins and stuff right here while I'm prepping stuff. It'll be nice to have one there too. So if you have a local Harbor Freight, check it out. I think you'll like it. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed our little tool video and a little bit of extra regarding storage, but on ergonomic rotary cutter handles. And please, if you like this video, or if you want some real videos on piecing and quilting in the hoop, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. Love to have you. Our group is growing, and I love having you all here. And I have several hundred now videos on this topic, because that's what we do here at Sew in Common. So click the subscribe button, click the little bell to set your notifications to either personalize or get notified for everything. That way you know when I put out these kinds of videos, or if I put out a different type of video. Just to let you know, this is our August 2023 block of the month, completely free, made in the hoop. All you need is a 5x7 hoop. If you go to our website, sewincommon.com, you can get all of our free blocks of the month over there for 2023 while it is still 2023. And that runner at the top, that is a contest. I have a video. I will attach it to the end of this one so you can check it out, because that's a contest, and you still have until August 31st to make that on your embroidery machine, quilt it on your embroidery machine. Super simple. So check all of those out, and we'd love to have you as part of our Sew in Common family. And until next time, everybody, sew life beautiful.